What up, everybody? It's Aaron here with Robert, and this is Get Your Geek On, and this is our review of the season finale of Hawkeye.
Okay, so
remember
this is
again.
Christmas.
There you go. So
Yeah.
I don't know where to
So,
start because we've been talking about it
it's
for weeks.
spoiler discussion, right?
Yeah.
That's what we always start off with, that this
That's
is
true.
going to be a spoiler discussion. So if you haven't seen the episode or Spider-Man No Way Home, you might want to clear it because I don't know that we'll really spoil anything in that, but we might. So
By just
it's
sheer accident, we might.
just be careful if you haven't seen either all of Hawkeye or that movie. You know, we're going to be talking, we're going to be speculating probably about where we'll come next, and that's where I think we might get into some spoiler territory.
Like how Doctor
No Way
Doom is in
Home.
all of this already.
Right. So anyways, so yeah, let's just, initial thoughts about this episode and this series in general. I have to say, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a fun ride from start to finish. We got introduced to some really exceptional characters. Like I loved Kate Bishop. Haley Steinfeld killed it. I loved Maya Lopez. Alekwa Cox was awesome. Obviously, we know because of the end of episode 5, we now have Vincent D'Onofrio as Wilson Fisk, the Kingpin in this series, and he got way more play in this episode than I was expecting.
Oh yeah.
And I loved it. I mean, I thought it was fantastic. Bringing back, Florence Pugh's Yelena Belova, who was just the highlight of Black Widow. She's another highlight in this series. We get her kind of, a fight scene at the end of episode 4, and then we get a lot more of her in these final 2 episodes. And she was a delight. This series was just a lot of fun. I like the way it wrapped up for everyone. I like where we kind of put people and are ready to go. In terms of what comes next, I thought this was a good send off for Jeremy Renner. If we decide that he's not going to be in the universe anymore, I think you could still bring him back, certainly, whether it be as a mentor or even in fighting roles. There's no reason he couldn't come back. But if this is his send off, I thought it was a nice send off. And I thought it really established some characters that we're going to see moving forward that I'm very excited to see where they go next. So I thought this series was a home run. I thought it was just super fun, and I really enjoyed it. What about you?
I tend to agree. I think, honestly, from what I've talked to people who don't watch it, it's like, oh, it's Hawkeye, or, oh, it's not going to tie in. It's a sleeper show. I think people are sleeping on this show. And it's going to be one of those ones, maybe in a few months, they're going to realize, oh my gosh, this was a really good show. I need to watch it. I think that's what's going to start happening soon, especially when we start getting more of Yelena, we get more of Kate Bishop, Hawkeye, or even just Kingpin in general, where people are like, oh, well, how is Kingpin here? Oh, well, if you would have watched Hawkeye, you would have seen that he's now connected. I think everyone did a great job in it. Vincent D'Onofrio, again, killing it as Kingpin. Yelena killing it as the sister of Black Widow and going through that grief and how she's kind of coping with it herself. I did like that we got that closure and that wrap of that last little knot, because it's, let's face it, that was a loose end out there. But I think overall, everyone did a great job in it. I think it told the story within the 6 episodes amazingly. I think the writers did a great job of letting us know what's going on, the connection that's finally formed. And like how you say, you get those ones like, let's see if this pays off. And a lot of the lines later did pay off, where he does comment, yes, you are my partner. We get a lot of those payoffs and a lot of just closure. I feel like this is probably one of the first Disney Plus Marvel shows that I feel had great closure at the end. Wanda still leaves an opening for what could be going next. With Falcon and Winter Soldier kind of did the same thing. Like, where are they going to go next? Like you said, this could be Jeremy Renner's send off. I mean, let's face it, he got about 45 minutes an episode. Almost, you could also look at like 2 movies, almost essentially a time length or so. So I think Jeremy Renner, if this is his goodbye, it's a beautiful way to go. And then, like you said, maybe coming back as a mentor, teaching Kate some more tricks. He taught her how to make those trick arrows at the end, which I'm glad they paid that off, because I think I commented a couple episodes ago, he's like, oh, well, we don't have any more.
Yeah.
And then
you're like, why can't he have more? It's like, no, like he was just lying to her.
Yeah, he was just lying. And I like it because it was the whole, we're going to see where this goes. I think by the end of this, we only have maybe like 1 or 2 questions, possibly. And that's about it. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay if one of them they never touch on again. I'm fine with that. but I want to know more about, let's say, the part with Kingpin.
Yeah.
So I overall though, go watch this if you slept on it. Go get out of
Yeah.
here and watch it.
And I just have to say, like, so far, whether it really has been this year and moving forward,
Mhm.
the pieces that Marvel is putting on the board, as these are going to be your next players, whether it's
Mhm.
Wanda turning into the full-on Scarlet Witch, Sam Wilson turning into Captain America, whether it's Loki setting up Kang and all of that,
Mhm.
whether it's this show or Black Widow setting up our Black Widow replacement in Yelena, our Hawkeye replacement in Kate Bishop. Like, they are just doing a
Yeah.
phenomenal job of setting the stage for who's going to come next and what
Right.
characters we're going to have. Shang-Chi, stepping into the universe. Like, I just like Marvel is really doing a wonderful job. Even like Eternals, which is probably my least favorite Marvel thing that came out this year,
Mhm.
I still think was pretty good, and certainly opened some threads for things we're going to see down the road that I'm like, yeah, I'm interested in seeing that.
Oh
So I,
yeah.
I just have to say, like, Marvel has done a really good job, and this series in particular just really delivered on a lot of the things that we wanted. I do have to say, we speculated about it last week, and we were on opposite sides,
Mhm.
and Jack being a total patsy, I kind of love. I kind of love that he is just kind of like, I'm, just living life, and now I love how excited he is to be able to use his sword that he inexplicably brought to this Christmas party. It's like, why does he even have that? But then he's just like, yeah, I'm just gonna fight with a sword, and I love it.
Yeah.
I thought that was great. I think we're probably on the same page with the LARPers. Like, I thought it was weird that they were there.
Yeah.
I thought it was weird that Hawkeye would put civilians in danger like that. That to me doesn't really match up with his character. I know that they're like, firefighters and police officers and those types of things, and like, so they're public servants, but it felt weird to me that Hawkeye would kind of
Yeah.
co-sign on having them be there,
I
knowing they were up against Kingpin. Like, that
yeah.
that to me, it was like, I don't know if that
And
tracks.
exactly. And I kind of agree to that because we know only one is a firefighter and one is a police officer. We don't know about the other two for sure.
Right.
And we assume they are, first responders. But at the same time, if this is the Kingpin we met in Daredevil, and let's say he didn't get blipped, obviously, thanks to Hawkeye. We know he's been there because he was leading Hawkeye as Ronin.
Right. Yep.
So you're telling me he didn't have anyone paid off? Because in Daredevil, he had like the entire police force paid off at some point.
Well, so I think, and they haven't been clear about this, but I think my feeling is that this is not the exact same. Like, this is not, we can't rely
Not
on those
Daredevil
previous
Kingpin.
stories. Um,
Okay.
Even though he's very similar, and obviously he's played by the same actor, and Vincent D'Onofrio even gave kind of an interview where he, again, nobody's confirming or denying whether it's the same one or not, but
Mhm.
he said he's approaching the character from the same headspace, with the same, like,
Right.
using the same like motivations and those types of things.
Yeah. Which is
but
perfect.
but if you look at this character in this show,
Hmm.
and the things, like, he is much more overpowered than he is in the Daredevil show.
Hmm.
He is stronger, he's more durable, he's all, those types of things than he is
Well,
in. And so, like, because I recently rewatched Daredevil, okay?
yeah.
I can tell you for sure, this is not, physically, this is not the same guy that we got in that series.
I mean, I don't know. I have to rewatch it because I mean, yes, he lost to Daredevil physically, but he did hold his own a little bit. And the whole thing
I,
is, anyone that's normally human strength, he could usually take on.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that he's not, that he wasn't like powerful in the
Right.
Daredevil show. I'm just saying, like, if you look at this, like his fight scene in this, where
Hmm.
he like kicks Kate Bishop across a room, where he gets
True.
up after getting hit by a car, where he has an explosion go off in his face from the too dangerous arrow, and then is
Hmm.
just walking down an alleyway. Yeah, he's
That's true.
injured, but like, the Kingpin in the Daredevil series is not getting up so easily, and he's certainly not kicking people across the room. So it's just one of those things where he is more powerful, which I like. It's more comics accurate, and it seemed like they did shoot him from angles to make him appear larger and bigger and really so I liked the way that they brought him in. That fight scene was a lot of fun. I was not expecting a Kingpin fight scene, so the fact that we got one was super cool, very menacing. I love the trick, the snap trick coming back, being what but I mean, that moment where he's just like, you're starting to annoy me, and he's like snapping the arrows.
Oh yeah,
all this stuff, and you're like, oh snap! And like, see, Kingpin. Woo.
Now I'm wondering again. I don't know what we're tying into everything, and this is me speculating, of course. In the comics, at one point, Kingpin does team up with the Hand, and that wouldn't be far fetched if we're trying to connect anything to Shang-Chi or even Hawkeye, people that he's killed, because maybe he killed a member of the Hand. We don't know.
Yeah, we'll see where it goes next. I mean, I think probably we know our next few series that we're going to get. Like, I think they haven't officially said, but I think Moon Knight and She-Hulk are the next two. So I wouldn't necessarily expect him to show up on Moon Knight, but She-Hulk is certainly a possibility. And certainly by the time we get to like Echo, I think he'll definitely be there. Probably not like Miss Marvel. But yeah, I mean, I think.
And you're talking about the Kingpin, or are you talking about okay.
Yeah, Kingpin.
See, and I'm kind of opposite. I see him more in She-Hulk.
That's what I said.
Oh,
I think he'll show up in She-Hulk, and then She-Hulk and then Echo, I think, are the two shows that we'll see him in next. And yeah, I mean, the way that it ends, clearly it's a confrontation between him and Maya. We see her like holding a gun basically up to his head, and then we don't see what happens. They cut away.
You just get the muzzle flash.
We hear the gunshot, and we hear like maybe a thud, like it sounds like somebody then falls to the ground. Now, of course, in the comics, he does get shot in the head by Maya Lopez after she finds out that he basically had her father killed. It does not kill him. It temporarily blinds him, which, comics logic and all that stuff, and he eventually has surgery and gets his sight restored and blah blah blah. So they certainly could go down that road. The one that I'm hoping it is, and this is where we'll get into slight spoilers for Spider-Man No Way Home, is we did see the return of Charlie Cox, Daredevil. Well, Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock in that movie, but we know he is Daredevil based on that scene. And so what I'm really hoping is that maybe that's like the first scene of Echo, is we cut back to this particular moment, and right as she's about to pull the trigger, you just get a baton knocks the gun out of her hand. And and Daredevil showing up, and obviously she's gonna be mad at him for stopping her from killing Kingpin, but Daredevil he doesn't want Kingpin to die. He wants him to pay for his crimes. He wants him to go to jail, but he's not gonna want him dead. And so I would love it if that's what they do. I have no idea if that's what they'll do, but I think that would be perfect. It'd be a perfect way to bring back Daredevil. And I think we'll get Matt Murdock again in She-Hulk, but if we don't see Daredevil until like the Echo series and that happens, I think I'll be okay with that.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't know. What do you think happened in that alley?
I want it to be Daredevil, but that's going to be really hard for them to talk to. The blind and the deaf. It's going to be, he can't really see her sign too well. And he's going to be like, I can't see what you're saying.
You know what? That's really interesting, because in the comics, they have a romantic relationship.
They do.
Like, how does that work? I've never read that run, so I don't know how that works. Either,
but they do have a relationship. It's like,
now I'm wondering.
Because like unless you go Ben Affleck where it rains and he can see things, it's like, okay, maybe she could see.
Or I guess like he can talk and she can read his lips, and then maybe I don't know if she speaks. Unless she does also. Like we see her sign.
Morse code, maybe.
Yeah, I have no idea. I never thought about that until just now.
Yeah, that's where I was like, how would they talk in the show? I want to see how you would explain that.
We're gonna have to do some research on that. Like, how do they have a relationship? How do they communicate?
And my other thing is, I think really it's going to be she shot in the air, kind of like fell to her knees crying kind of thing. And just because she's done with that life, I feel like she's done being a murderer. And I don't see her trying to shoot Kingpin.
I mean, she just killed Kazi. who she was trying to like run away with. Like she was ready to
Yeah,
forgive him for his role
but
in her father's death.
I don't think
And
she, I don't think she meant to.
I mean, it was certainly a, self-defense. Like he
Yeah,
wouldn't stop, and so she, ended it.
yeah.
But yeah, I feel like she would definitely pull the trigger on Kingpin. Like she would
Yeah.
she would shoot him in the head.
I mean, we'll definitely see on that one. I mean, my big
Yeah.
thing too is like in this episode, and we talked about it a little bit, is Yelena. I want to talk about her thing.
Yeah,
Because I
she's
mean, that,
fantastic.
first of all, her and Kate, I love the chemistry. I love that chemistry. Kicks her in the ribs. They talk about how, like, oh, you know, I did those pretty good kick. Oh,
The
you
whole
broke a
scene in
rib.
the elevator where Kate like tried 4 different times to press the buttons to
Yes.
slow her down was so funny. And then I love how she finally does it. And then Kate is like surprised that Yelena gets off the elevator. It's like, no, that like she's not gonna just wait as it goes floor by floor. Like she's gonna go, like, what are you
Yeah.
thinking, Kate?
What do you think's
And
gonna
like,
happen?
yeah, that was a lot of fun. And then of course, yeah, they're running and fighting and like they're talking and I think Kate is the one that says like stop making me like you or something
Yeah,
like
at the end, because
that.
she's like, she
Yeah,
throws like the ball bearings at her basically, or the ball thing. I can't remember what it's called, and it
yeah,
hits
and
her.
she's
She's
like,
like, "Ow, my hand! That was really good though. Like you did a good job." And I'm like, she's praising Kate the whole time, and Kate's like, "Yeah, but that I owed you for that kick because you hit my ribs and it kind of hurt." And
yeah,
she's like, "I'm gonna leave now. Like I'm still Black Widow. I'm still gonna jump out this window and go
right.
try to
Still gonna
kill
go kill
Hawkeye."
Hawkeye. Like that's the
And
thing.
I loved their chemistry, and then the whole
Mhm.
fight with Hawkeye and Elena after the tracksuit mafia is pretty much defeated at this point. They've
Yeah.
taken all of them out,
I
and
just have to call out the Pym arrow shrinking the truck and then the owl just like I love they're like, well, what do we do now? I don't know. I'll have to talk to Scott about that one. And then the owl
yeah,
just swoops in and you're like, I guess we don't have to talk to Scott about that one.
nope. Scott doesn't even know about what just happened here. I just killed like 3 guys.
Like
So
that was very funny. I thought that was bringing back the Pym arrow for that because obviously we saw the big one,
yeah,
like it get larger, but having it now get smaller and then have
that
the
was
owl just
hilarious.
like
Yeah, his little
I
owl
enjoyed
friend
that.
he made in the tree. He's like, okay, I'm out.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Yelena and the whole fight scene I thought was amazing, and how she's just wanting answers. That's all she wants.
Yeah.
She has these questions for him, wanting to know what happened with Natasha there, and he's trying to tell her, and she just doesn't believe him the whole time
Yeah,
until the whistle.
and I don't even think that she doesn't believe him. She just doesn't want to believe him. Like
Yeah, I
she
can see
she
that.
wants to have someone to blame for the fact that she doesn't have her sister anymore. Like
Yeah,
she wants to be able to, take revenge or whatever. And just and so she just doesn't want to believe that she can't get any closure and that her sister made a choice to no longer be able to see her. And
yeah,
I kept waiting for Hawkeye to say it because I think at one point she says like, why would she sacrifice for you, you're not worth it. And I kept
Mhm.
waiting for him to be like, she didn't, she sacrificed for you, like she
Yeah,
sacrificed to bring you back. And so I did feel like that was a little bit of a missed beat. Like I still
yeah,
really enjoyed the emotion that both of them had in that scene as they were kind of talking about Natasha and how much she meant to both of them and how
right.
much time Hawkeye had with her, which like Elena didn't get that time. Like all those things, I thought that all worked really well.
Yeah,
But I did feel like there was just kind of a missing thing where he kind of could have explicitly said like, yes, she saved the whole world, but she also was saving you, she was bringing you
right.
back. And so I
Well,
think that they could have done that.
and I mean, I kind of don't. Yeah, and again, like you said, when you're blinded by rage, and again, this was the thing. Hawkeye, Echo, and her are blinded by anger. That was what I got from the show. But each
Sure.
of one of them are at a different point in that. Hawkeye's at the end of it. I've gone through it. I've worked it out, and I'm done. Echo's in the middle of it still. And I feel like Yelena's still towards the beginning where it's just pure rage. Like, I don't care who I have to hurt. I'm going to get there. Where Echo was a little more precise, I'll say. Like she knew what she wanted. She knew who she wanted to come kill.
Yeah.
And yeah, because of that, I really think that we got a good view of each version, each stage of anger, or you could even say grief. I guess that's the better term for it, because they all lost somebody, which put them in anger, which put them where they were.
Yeah.
And again, the whole trying to target it and trying to use it, And in this case, Yelena had a reason now to go kill Hawkeye. She really didn't before, but somebody gave her a reason. She's trying to kill him. And the whistle was a nice little touch to me. I did like that. I did like that he talked about the airplane, or not, was it the airplane or the plane?
Yeah, the airplane from the opening of Black Widow. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a nice callback to that film. I'm glad we kind of got that. And again, that Hawkeye turns around and just tells her, like, this is what it is. I didn't like that he didn't, he really didn't say, I tried to do it myself. Like, he says I tried, but he doesn't really emphasize that it's like, well, I tried to sacrifice myself. I tried to go kill her, not try to stop her. Right. I was trying to die too. And I think that would maybe helped a little bit too. Like it, or even explain the soul. If he would have explained the soul stone, maybe that could have even helped a little bit.
I don't know. It was a little bit convenient for him to go like, if I told you, you wouldn't believe me. It's like, she blipped away for 5 years. I think she might believe you.
Exactly. And blipped back and it's just like, I was gone 5 seconds. And same thing. It's like, I think she could believe pretty much anything right now. Yeah, like, Soul Stone had a jump.
At this stage in the MCU, anytime someone says you wouldn't believe me if I told you, it's like, no, they've seen enough weird shit. I think people would believe you.
I would put the gun down. Purple giant alien banished me for 5 years. You don't think I can handle little secrets? Let's go. What do you got?
So, but ultimately, I mean, I think that was a lot of fun. Having having Kate kind of go with Hawkeye back to his family farm for Christmas.
That was nice.
That was sweet. The house didn't blow up. Hawkeye didn't die, much to your chagrin. But, symbolic certainly to, burn the Ronin suit. I liked their little conversation as she's trying to like come up with different, her name, her superhero name. And clearly he's, like when the show cuts off, he's saying
Hawkeye.
You just be Hawkeye. Just like I'm hanging it up. You can just be Hawkeye.
Yeah. And that's
beautiful. Sweet. I like that. Kate, turning in her mom for the murder of Armand and, basically hiring an assassin.
Mm-hmm.
I like that beat for Kate. I like that she's, saying like you did these things and you need to be held responsible. The only problem with that is that Hawkeye is not having to take responsibility for his Ronin murder spree. And so like she still idealizes him while putting her mom behind bars. And it's like those two things don't actually, they don't jive. So,
well, I mean, they don't, but I guess maybe you could even say that maybe she gets him a pass because he feels grief for what he's done. He feels bad, and let's face it, he's tried to commit suicide to save the world because he was just, I want my family back. I don't care if I die. And on top of that, he went to the memorial for Natasha and is still like, I don't know if I'm living the best life. He doesn't know. Yeah. Where the mom was like, yeah, I did it, and it was just nonchalant about it the whole time. Like, yeah, well, you don't understand. Well,
like this is the way the world works.
Yeah. Talk to her. The line though didn't hit me at all, where she was like, "Is this what heroes do to their mothers or something, or family?"
Yeah,
that line was such a miss for me. I was like,
she's like, arrest their mothers on Christmas. I'm like, if their mothers are murdering like people, like they do.
Exactly. It's no, but I do want to talk. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say the last thing I think we need to talk about is the watch, right?
Yes, that's what I was gonna say. Okay. That way we could wrap it up on that.
So yes, we do finally get the return of the watch. Apparently, at some point off screen, Kate gave it to Clint.
Right? I was like, okay. Cool.
It's been, like we haven't really mentioned it in 2 episodes, but we do find out that it was a Shield watch and it has a number 19 on it, which of course everybody agrees that means that it belonged to Agent 19, who was Mockingbird, and so that means that Laura was an agent of Shield, which is a fun callback to the moment we meet her in Age of Ultron when they walk in and Clint is introducing the Avengers to his family, and you have Tony Stark being like, "This is an agent of some kind."
These are smaller agents.
And then his kid runs it in. That's a smaller agent. Yeah.
Smaller agents. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that one. That was.
I like that it's kind of a callback. It's a fulfillment. If they never revisit it again, I think we can just have that in our lives and say she was a former agent of Shield. They met, fell in love, had kids, blah blah blah. We don't need anything more. If they decide they want to revisit it, sure, that's fine. I'd be okay with that too.
I'd be okay with maybe her. The only thing I want from her maybe is talking about who the new Agent 19 is, maybe. So maybe now we get a real
Yeah.
Mockingbird.
Well, my big question, which is not resolved,
Mhm.
is why Kingpin / the Tracksuit Mafia wanted that watch. Now we know it ties to a former agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. being, Clint Barton's wife,
Mhm.
but that doesn't explain why they wanted the watch in the first place, because that was
Yeah.
like the opening inciting incident in episode 1, is they were there for the watch. So
Yeah.
it's almost like, did something in her past, did she do something as an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. that just totally pissed off Kingpin? And
I
he's
mean,
like
she might have.
20 years later, he's trying to get revenge. Because that's the thing, is we know without a doubt she's been out of the game since at least the events of Age of Ultron, which
Right.
is like 2015. This show is set, I
Well,
think, in like 2024.
right.
So that's like 9 years. But they also had like a 10-year-old kid at that point. So you really have to back it up to say she probably stopped being an agent sometime in the early 2000s.
Right.
And that's 20
So,
years ago in
well,
MCU timeline. Like what
I
is
don't.
Kingpin holding on a grudge for this whole time?
True. I mean, I don't know if it'd be 20 because the more I think about it, as you had mentioned it earlier last night, I think we were talking a little. She still had connections to Nick Fury in Age of Ultron. She was the one that may have called Nick in. We don't know. We don't know who called Nick in. So
Sure.
maybe she was still kind of doing some small stuff with them. So, I mean, we could even say 9 to 10 years, maybe she was getting out of the game at that point, or maybe she was already getting ready to leave it. Because, like, I don't think Hawkeye would have called Nick Fury. I really don't. I
don't think she's going on missions, though, with kids at home.
Now, she may not be going on missions, but she could be someone at the desk. They do be a front desk person sometimes.
Yeah, but then why would her watch be in play that would again?
Yeah,
there's
that's
just, I just have questions.
My thing is, I wonder if it's like she arrested Kingpin's dad and led him into this life of crime. But again, like that would make sense why it took 20 years, because he has to build his empire up. And now it's like, cool, I have all this power. I can take down an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. with no issues, and no one would know. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Again, if they don't pay it off, though, I don't care. I'm okay with it.
Yep.
So I don't know. It was a great series. Go check it out. If you didn't, I don't know why you're listening, but if you did, let us know what you think of it. What Easter eggs we saw.
We just spoiled the whole show.
Yeah. One last thing I do want to touch on before we get going, because we got a couple minutes left. We got our musical. We didn't even talk about the musical.
Oh my God.
So
I have to say, I'm of two minds. I love that Marvel just trolled us all so hard by just giving us a 3-minute version of this musical with literally no Easter eggs, with literally nothing. Every time they pan to the audience, to the conductor, I was like, "Ooh, we're gonna see someone. We're gonna see someone in the audience." And nope. We literally, it was just, and so I'm of two minds. I love that Marvel did it. I also don't really like that song. And I'm like, why is this popular? Why is this musical popular in the world of the MCU? It's not good. So I don't know.
There's a few things. One, Marvel tried to do this. I think it was in the mid 80s, right? They tried to do a musical about Captain America.
Yeah, well, there was a Spider-Man musical that failed spectacularly 10 years ago. Spider-Man, Turn Off the Dark or whatever. A bunch of people got injured because they didn't know how to do wire work, apparently.
Even though we've been doing that for 20 years now. But yeah, so I think one, it was to play to be like, well, we finally got our Captain America musical from the 80s. Because one of the lines says something about the 80s in it. Oh, we survived the 80s. I'm like, haha, that's a throwaway to the fact that you guys did that. I think each line, though, now this could be me just deep diving. I think the lines are meant to be something. I think
crapped all over New York for an entire verse.
They did. That was funny too. But I think one of it, they talk about something new, and I believe that's talking about maybe the new Avengers coming in, because now we got Kate Bishop out there, we got Shang-Chi out there, we still have Tom Holland right now, kind of. Not really an Avenger, and well, not an Avenger anymore because nobody remembers Peter. So is he an Avenger or is he not?
They still remember Spider-Man though.
But they
would have remembered that they fought alongside Spider-Man and just not know who Spider-Man is, and maybe they don't know how to get a hold of him. So
maybe. So he's kind of he's like Batman. He's like a part-time Avenger. Like Batman's a part-time Justice League member, so he's part-time.
When it is convenient for Batman, he's a Justice League member.
When it's convenient for him, and Peter just wants to be in there and he can never get in.
When there's something threatening Gotham City, then Batman is a
Batman
Justice
shows
League
up.
member. He's like, if Metropolis is about to be destroyed, he's like, whatever, you guys don't need me, I'm good.
You got soups, you're fine. I mean, but yeah, I think each line is talking about like something coming up, possibly. I think that's what it is, because it is a terrible little musical. I thought it was dumb. But yeah,
So bad.
I don't know. I'm excited
I
for it.
I love that Marvel can get away with stuff like this. Like
I was excited
at the
for it
end of
though.
Spider-Man Homecoming, when we get, Captain America doing his PSA about like patience. It's very like
Turn the chair
like
around.
only Marvel can get away with these post-credit scenes that actually don't have anything to do
Yeah.
with anything else, and they're literally just trolling us, and they're making us watch it. Like
Yeah.
it started off and I was like, wait, what is this? And then I realized it was the musical, and I'm like, am I just gonna get this whole song? And I did, and like I watched the whole thing, not enjoying it because I think it's a bad song, but I still watched the whole thing because I was like, what if there's something that they like, some tiny little detail or clue that they put in there?
That's the problem. You thought wrong show. You said, what if? Oh, that's
so yeah, so I think the next time I watch Hawkeye, I will not watch this post-credit scene. But like
your daughter might want to see it though.
Marvel can do it. They can get away with it.
But on that note, yeah, go check it out, guys, and definitely watch. I say Rick, watch it for at least once because it was funny and stupid. But definitely let us know what you think down below of this whole series, what you thought of it, what Easter eggs we may have missed, and maybe tell us how Echo and Daredevil have a relationship.
I just want you to know, Aaron,
yes.
When it comes to doing reviews with you, I can do this all
day. Oh God. Anyway, on that note, we're done. I'm out. I'm calling this. Stay geeky and get your geek on, guys.
Bye.